Welcome to Thriver's Ed, the podcast that's all about giving you the practical, no-nonsense advice you need to level up your life and business. I'm your host, Marcy Rossi, success coach, business strategist, and alcohol-free enthusiast. If you're ready to crush your goals, optimize your productivity, and live your best, most authentic life, then you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into topics like the psychology of success, practical strategies to boost your performance, and the unexpected ways living alcohol-free can elevate your life. Whether you're looking to boost your business, improve your health, or simply become a better version of yourself, Thriver's Ed is here to help you do just that. So grab your iced coffee, buckle up, and let's get thriving. All right, buckle up because I have a rant for you today. So if you know anything about me and my business, you know that customer service is super important to me. I have been in customer service in just about every career that I've had, and I've worked in a lot of different positions. But the key of it is to serve the customer, even going above and beyond. It's especially in restaurants that I worked in. I worked in a lot of fine dining establishments, and going above and beyond was the expectation. It wasn't like there is no such thing as above and beyond because that's what you do. That's the expected level of service that you're doing, which I took through with everything that I was doing. I always try to deliver to the best of my abilities. I understand that that's not always a possibility. Like, I'm thinking of a time I worked at a restaurant and a man was screaming at me because his baked potato was cold, right? Not my fault. Obviously, I didn't create the potato. I carried it to his table, and he freaked out about it. And so they made a new potato for him, and they put everything on the side this time because guess what, folks? Butter and sour cream and cheese, those are kept cold. And if you put something cold on something hot, it's going to lower the temperature of that hot thing. Or lower the heat, I guess, of that hot thing. So we put it on the side this time so that you could see like this potato is steaming, and he freaked out again, like just ranting, raving, stark mad, to the point that I actually was crying because he just whatever. This man was had serious problems. So, but again, I'm trying to do everything I can to serve the customer, even when they are blatantly wrong. And so I had an experience today where someone took a different approach. So I had been looking at this, it's kind of a course with a whole bunch of templates and tools in there, and it was $500. And I've been kind of looking at it for the last week or two, deciding, do I want to do this? It's $500. What if it's not worth it? Whatever, going back and forth. And I know this business owner. I haven't purchased something from her before, but I've seen some of the stuff that she does. I do think that she knows what it is that she's talking about. She has a lot of experience. And so it was really kind of leaning like, oh, should I do this? I didn't really have any, there's no social proof on her page of the value that people got from it. But again, I've heard her speak. I know that she knows what she's talking about and that she's experienced. And so eventually I bit the bullet, put my credit card in, and paid her $500. And then the next 10, 15 minutes or so, I'm sitting there refreshing my email and nothing is coming in. No emails are arriving. And so I'm kind of concerned. Like I got the invoice. So once I purchased, I was taken to a page with an invoice. Nothing else, no confirmation, no telling you, okay, the login is going to be arriving in your inbox shortly, or reach out to me here if you don't find it. Like it was just a page with the invoice. And then the email was just the invoice. And so I wrote back like, hey, how do I actually access the thing? And I hear nothing. And then eventually it had been a couple hours, and now I'm kind of pissed, right? Like I was super excited about this product that I was buying, and it was going to be helping me plan an event that I am hoping to host in October. It was going to save me a ton of time. I had set aside the afternoon to dive into the materials so that I could actually start making some momentum on this event that I'm planning, and I'm getting nothing. So I wrote back and I was like, you know what? Like, I think let's just do a refund. Like, I'm still not seeing it. Let's just call it. And she writes back like, okay, I'll give you the refund, but like, did you check your spam folder? Like, I don't think it's unreasonable that I didn't write back to you right away. And this was an interesting choice of response. I've had people reach out to me saying, hey, I never got the course email, and I can go into my provider and I can see that, yeah, they did. Like they got the email. It was sent at this time. It shows as opened or whatever. And when those things happen, I will do my best to respond like, hey, which is whatever business owner does is like, hey, did you check your spam and your promotions folder? And I will say something usually like, let me try to send it again. If you still don't see it, let me know and I'll try to send it again. Because the course login with my system, which is called system, there's just a button that I would click that would resend that access email. It's not like a link that I get that I can just say, okay, here, click this link. That would be the easiest option. Instead, system sends them a link where they basically create an account from there. And so I can try to resend it, but if the original email landed in spam, the second one's going to land in spam until they go find it, which is where we kind of say like, hey, can you go find this? But instead of responding in that way, she's like, well, there was no, I'll try to send it again. Let me try to help you. It was just like, I shouldn't have to answer you right away kind of response, which is an interesting tack. So I wrote back and the thing is, we don't live in the same time zone. She lives on the other side of the world. And so absolutely, your customers should not have the expectation that you will respond to their emails right away, right? That's just not possible. Things you can do if you want to help mollify some of that is have an autoresponder where when someone emails you, it gives you some ideas like things that people are constantly asking about. Hey, can't find your login? Click here to reset your password. Hey, have a question about X, Y, and Z? Click here. Like when you start to get those common questions, which, hey, I can't find my course login is a common question, having some of those response there. Now, do I love autoresponders? No. Do they solve some of my problems sometimes? Yeah, but I've also seen these be abused where then you reply to an email from them and then the autoresponder comes. And then you guys are having a conversation and then the autoresponder comes. So I think if you're going to use these, to use them really well is to make sure that autoresponder only comes one time to that person and not every single time they reply to a message that you send. Anyway, that's kind of going off tangent there, but there could have been some expectations set up, right? If I had been taken to a confirmation page after I purchased that said, hey, you're going to get an email with this subject line and it should arrive within the next 15 minutes. And if it doesn't, please send me an email here and I will look into it, or some kind of expectation. Another possibility was to respond to the email even if she assumed I was completely wrong. Let's say that email really was in my spam and promotions folder, to say like, hey, did you find it? Let me try to send it to you again, versus, well, my bad for not answering you right away. Like really defensive. So here's the thing. It doesn't really matter whether your customers are right or wrong, right? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe that email is sitting in my spam folder, which I promise you it's not, but maybe it is, right? What can we do to solve the problem? I didn't get a solution in this situation. The solution was either give me some grace for not responding right away, which I do. I do give her grace, but I also think that it's not unreasonable for a customer to expect what they've just purchased, right? If they purchased something, they should have the access to it, or they should at least be reassured that access is coming so that it's not feeling like this was just some kind of scam, right? Buyer's remorse is real. That's why when we set up our customer experience, we think, what do we want to happen immediately after someone purchases? Do we want to take them to a thank you page that gives them step-by-step, hey, here's what's going to happen? Do I want to reaffirm this with an email that says, hey, that thing you just saw on that thank you page, here it is again, so you have it in your inbox, so you don't have to save that page open and know what's going to happen. Like, what can we do to reassure them you made the right decision and I'm going to deliver what it was that I said I was going to deliver? So I told her, I do not think that business owners should be 100% tied to their email. People need to take breaks. Boundaries are important. And if we always respond the first second that someone sends us an email, we've now set that expectation that is what we're always going to do. And so if we, gosh forbid, take a day off or even just the evening off, people have been trained that we respond right away. And so I don't think that's healthy for us or for them. But acknowledging that people are allowed to be miffed when they buy things and don't get them, right? Again, even if I'm 100% wrong, how do we solve this? So opportunities that could have been happened here, she could have mentioned something like, I'm going to try to resend the link. Can you double check your spam? Let me resend that link. Or here's the link to access the course. Or, it's the middle of the night. I promise I'm going to get it to you first thing in the morning. Like just something other than blaming. So I think it's important to acknowledge the customer's emotions, right? This is emotional for me at the end of the day. I told you, I don't drop $500 on something just on a whim. I'm expecting a $500 value plus when I'm going to put my money down. And I teetered about this for a while, right? Like I told you, I thought for a couple of weeks, like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? So I was already in that stage of needing that reassurance, which was not what I got either through the customer experience or through the customer support at the end of the day. So how do we resolve this going forward? We start with, what do I want my customers to feel and experience when they purchase from me, or even when they opt into my email list, or when they interact with me in some way? What do I want them to feel and experience? So when we're going to have our lead magnets sent out, we want to deliver that right away, right? We just told someone, if you give me something valuable, which in this case is your email address, I will deliver this thing. And when we have our systems set up to automatically deliver that thing right away, we've followed through on that promise. We've shown them that we're reliable. Now, is technology flawless? No, it's absolutely not, right? I think that's why we test and we test again, and we acknowledge that even the best system in the world will sometimes fail, right? There are going to be deliverability issues. There could be, like she suggested, an issue with my own email service provider, right? If it's not in my spam folder, perhaps Google is holding it somewhere for whatever reason to inspect it. It doesn't really matter why it didn't happen. What matters is what we do to resolve the issue. So when these things come up, acknowledge the customer's feelings, frustrations, experience, right? Man, that sucks. Sorry that happened. Let me see what I can do to fix it. Even if the fix isn't in that email, just letting people know, hey, here's what happened. I'm going to do my best to solve the problem, shows that you care about how they feel. You care about how they experience working with you, or in whatever other way interacting with you. And that's how we bring people back into our world. I don't think customers, or the vast majority of customers, expect everything to be perfect 100% of the time. But I do think it's important that we show that we care, that we show that even if this $500 is like a drop in the bucket for us, that it means something to the person that just entrusted us with their credit card, or even with just their email address. So an acknowledgement of the respect, like an actual respect there of saying, you invested in me, whether with your email address or your money, and I'm going to take care of you, I think is really important. The alternative is to dig down into being right. Right? I think that's an approach there. And some people will do that, right? They'll say, well, too bad, it's already shows it's sent, so you go find it. Or too bad, my system said that it's sent, can't help you there, right? Even if you've done absolutely nothing wrong, I think the way that you continue to build true, lasting trust, foundation of trust with your customers, is by doing what you can to fix a problem, even if it isn't your problem, right? So the easiest thing to do is to anticipate what could go wrong and how do I want to step in and resolve this, and to honestly acknowledge your customers, have respect for them. I'm thinking of an alternative of this. Where someone really blew me away. There was a woman who was selling something. It was like a Black Friday sale. And her thing was, she was doing like 5 days of sales. And on the 5th day, if you purchased, you got kind of the other 4 days. And I'll be honest, I must have skimmed the page because I misunderstood. I thought that like if you bought on the 5th day, you got all 5 days of gifts, but really you got days like, I think it was like days 1, 2, and 3, and then day 5. Like day 4 was something really special that was something extra. And so when I purchased and we got all these gifts, I didn't get that day 4 one, which I was really excited about. It made this, honestly, if I had put 2 and 2 together, I would have realized that that's too good of a deal, because day 4 and day 5 were priced about the same thing. And so to get day 4 for free when you're buying day 5, like it didn't make a ton of sense, but I thought, oh my God, what a stupid good deal. Here's my credit card. And I spent thousands of dollars on this program again, which was in my head getting all 5 days of gifts. And so I reached out to the support, like, hey, I'm missing the day 4 gift. And they said, oh no, like on the sales page, it's just days 1 to 3 and then day 5. And I was bummed. Like, again, the thing is here, I was 100% in the wrong. Like I went into that sales page because I was going to prove that I was right and knew what I was talking about. And I looked and it straight up said, if you buy day 5, you get days 1, 2, and 3. It never, ever said you also get day 4. So I was 100% in the wrong. But I was also really disappointed. And what she did was it was like a customer service rep. So it wasn't even the business owners. It was a pretty big business. And she was like, you know what? Here, go ahead and take day 4. And she didn't have to do that. Again, I was 100% wrong in that situation. I proved to myself, I was convinced I wasn't wrong, of course, as every customer is, but I looked it up and I was 100% wrong. And I didn't say like, okay, you owe me this. I just said, well, man, I kind of bought this. This was my understanding when I purchased. And so she gave it to me. Did she have to do that? No, 100% not, right? I was wrong. She was basically gifting me whatever the price. It wasn't thousands of dollars. It was maybe it was another $500 course. I don't really know what it was, but it was something that was really valuable to me, and my expectations were not met in that situation, again, through 100% fault of my own. And what this did for me was think, oh my God, this woman is so generous. She didn't have to do that. She could have just said like, hey, sorry, you misunderstood. Here's the actual deal. Do you want a refund, or do you want to add on this? She could have handled it in so many different ways. And instead she decided to surprise and delight me with something, again, that I did not deserve, but that she understood that my expectations had not been met, as unreasonable as they were, and wanted to make things right. And for that, I was blown away. I have said nothing but great things about this person since then. I use her as an example for so many different things. I've learned so much from this woman, and I've gotten so many opportunities from being in her world that I think it's just truly incredible how, kind of the different ways that people can handle things. So this was a really big eye-opening experience for me to say, even when the customer is wrong, I have the opportunity to turn that situation around in a kind of a 180 thing and really blow their mind. And from that, she got a lifelong devotee from that, right? It was a small thing. Yeah, did she lose out on a sale? Absolutely, right? Because she essentially gifted me something. But as a result, I spent far more than I would have originally, because I was just so impressed that this woman not only follows through on what it is that she promises, but she goes above and beyond to deliver the kind of customer experience that she believes her customers deserve. And so I think that this was just a truly not generous, I don't even have the right words for it, but just a really shining example of customer service in a way that lives up to the name, right? To actually serve, to go above and beyond people's expectations, reasonable or unreasonable. Now, the reason I'm not naming her here is because I do not want to encourage such behavior where we just all pretend that we didn't see that day 4 isn't included and that we're going to get our freebies there. I don't think that this is the expected way of things. I don't think that she does this all of the time. And I'm assuming that most customers are savvier than me and that actually read and knew that this wasn't the case. Like, I think if everybody were coming to her saying, oh, I misunderstood that, then that would kind of suggest that there was probably like an issue with the copywriting or the marketing. But this was truly 100% a mistake on my part. And she wowed me in a way that I felt so truly taken care of. Again, she could have just said, sorry, you misunderstood. Do you want a refund for what it is that you purchased? And I also would have been satisfied with that, right? I would have been a little bit bummed because I was excited about those things. But instead of just being satisfied or just not pissed, I was blown away and a true supporter of this woman and her business. So all of this to say, your customers may be right or wrong. Sometimes they're going to get pissed at you, rightfully so. Sometimes they're going to get 100% pissed at you and they are completely in the wrong. And it's up to you how you want to respond. You can respond with generosity in both situations. Now, does that mean you should take abuse like that crazy person yelling at me about the temperature of his potato? I don't think so. I don't think that those kinds of customers deserve that wowing above the top experience. And with kindness, we can let them go forever from our business. But when we have an opportunity to really take care of people, we show that we are a stand-up business, that we are actually here to serve, and that our customers' experience actually matters to us. So take a minute, think about what you want your customers to feel, how you want them to be talking about you, experiencing you, learning from you, whatever that situation is. Do what you can to set it up correctly the first time, right? So if we can get those automated emails to come up and send automatically, perfect. And acknowledging that technology will fail. and having a plan for that. So that's well, it's not really a thrive in 5. I think it's like a thrive in 3 for today, but think about what you want people to experience when they interact with you, whether that's with their credit card, their lead magnet, even just chatting with you, etc. What can you set up to make sure that they feel taken care of from the minute they interact with you? And what kind of plans can you have in place for when that inevitably fails? It will. Emails will get lost, logins won't get delivered, emails will bounce, whatever will happen. But what you can control is how you respond to it. You cannot control if that course access email is actually going to land in the inbox. What you can control is whether you respond with generosity or with defensiveness, completely in your corner. So hope you enjoyed my rant for today. If you ever want to rant, I'm always here for it. And if you want to chat with me, send me a message. The link is in the show notes. With that, until next time, keep thriving.